Welcome to the Tinie Corner, where we talk about things and stuff over a cup of coffee. We're your host. I'm Cindy.
I'm Anon.
And this week, we're talking about coffee, which is probably going to be featured in most of our episodes in the future as well. So we thought that we might just get it over with first week. This is episode 1.
I agree. That's a very, wise thing to do since both of us are pretty picky about what we're drinking.
We are. You're a barista.
I am a barista.
And I'm Swedish. So probably where it stems from as well.
Do you want to tell the viewers or the listeners what's the correlation between Swedish and coffee?
So, I wouldn't say Sweden is like a coffee country, but the majority of people do drink coffee.
Okay.
We don't really do fancy stuff like with different taste notes, stuff like that, but we do put a lot of importance on like fresh coffee.
Okay.
As in freshly brewed coffee. We have like a culture where it's very on the go. So in the morning, you would see a lot of places having like their windows open where you can just like stop by and get your to-go coffee and then go to work. We also have something called fika.
Okay.
Which is basically the Swedish version of a British tea time, I guess. But it's more like with a cup of coffee and pastries. And it's in between meals, like every day.
So just like an excuse to take a break and eat sweets and coffee.
Yeah. I read a study sometime that said that where Swedish workers are happier because they get fika. So like
they got sweets. I'll be happy, getting dessert like every single break.
Yeah, because it's like a part of the culture to have that break as well. So if you take the break during your work hours, it's like a given.
Essentially, it's a secret break for her.
Yeah.
Coffee instead.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
It's
fika with coffee and usually like a cinnamon roll or sometimes croissant. Or sometimes like a little like chocolate ball.
Oh.
It really depends on your preference as well. We sometimes do tea as well, but it's more common to do coffee from what I've seen.
How are the Swedes doing on the, health check, given that how much sweets they take daily?
I don't know, actually. That's an interesting question.
Right?
I would say that people seem pretty fit.
Because they walk a lot?
I guess so. It's also like going to the gym is very common. So it's also part of like the culture of
That's
like
nice.
gymming.
That's really nice.
When you go there, you see a lot of people are very fit and very fashionable, especially in the big cities.
I'm jealous of that. I wish we had that here in Thailand.
Aren't you fit and fashionable yourself?
I would not say that I'm fit. I'm just skinny. Do you know that actually the fat percentage or cholesterol?
Yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah, mine is over standard or whatever it's called properly. I'm just like a little bit over, even though I'm, appears skinny. I'm actually a fat kid at heart.
Yeah, I should get my health checked out. I haven't been to the doctor in a while. But anyway, so what about you? How do you get into the coffee business?
Right. So I should, backtrack a little bit. So I spent 7 years in Sydney. And for those who have been to Australia or Sydney in particular, you would know that the cafe culture is very, very massive over there. There are like basically every single corner.
Yeah.
You can find cafes way easier than Starbucks, which is not the case in Thailand or in Bangkok, at least. Starbucks actually went out of business. Oh, almost. There's only 2 branches left.
This kind of reminded me because last time I went to Australia, I actually went to a Starbucks.
How dare you?
This was like many years ago, but I just remember, I never told you about this because I just remembered just now. Because I remember that I went to the cinema and there was a Starbucks downstairs. And
wait, is this in like CBD?
I don't know. It was like
in Sydney, yeah.
It was like
Event cinema,
kind of like a 4D kind of thing. I don't know. I went to see Avatar, not The Last Airbender, like Avatar. That the blue people,
the blue people with
the
a
blue people
tail.
Avatar, yeah. But yeah, and I went to the Starbucks downstairs, and I remember it very clearly because I told them my name is Cindy, and they wrote Sydney on it, and I wasn't Sydney, and it was the most embarrassing thing ever as a tourist. And I was like, why would you do this?
You know, it's the marketing
It's
scheme.
a marketing thing, but I was like, how dare you?
Calling you Sydney when
I'm
you're in Sydney.
Yeah. So yeah, I went to Starbucks.
Right. So
anyway, sorry.
it's okay. So I brain fried again.
Many cafes
yes,
in
I had
Sydney.
A chance to visit.
Starbucks went out of business.
Yeah, so I had a chance to visit a lot of cafes. In the past 7 years. Although I only started taking coffee seriously when I moved back to Thailand 4 years ago. Even though I spent that long over there, I went to a lot of good places. The place where like the owner, this Korean guy, he's really nice. Chanho, I think that's his name.
Shout out to Chanho.
Nom Core Coffee, Sydney.
Oh yeah, that place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, he's super friendly, and he went on to like did the roasting competition and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even like one of our friends knows him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel actually knows Chanho. Yeah. So
that's cool.
I went there so often to the point where they started asking like, what should I put on menu? Like what should we have on like food menu next? Should we change like this? What if we change the wall to that color? I was like, why are you asking me? Like and they're like, oh, because you're a customer.
Yeah.
Of course we're gonna ask you like what do you feel. I was like, that's really cute of them.
Yeah.
So that's like I slowly absorbed that kind of vibe. And when I moved back here, I didn't get to see a lot of that kind of cafe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And eventually I had a chance to did a photo shoot at this cafe. And they seems pretty serious about it. And the coffee was very decent. So that caught me by surprise. So fast forward a little bit, I was, their customer for the past like 4 months, 6 months. And I took a barista course with them. And at the end of the course, I asked, can I be, a part-timer? So that's how I got into coffee.
So you were hooked after that?
Yes.
The thing is, like, once you start drinking good coffee, it's very, very hard to go back to bad coffee.
It's like once you know what you're drinking or how it works, it's you being more picky, and you just make your life more difficult.
Yeah, especially
by choice.
Here too. So the thing is, like, I think a lot of people who live here in Bangkok knows that even though the cafe culture here is very strong, the coffee culture is very, very, very small, and it's only like a very close group of people that do specialize in coffee.
Yeah, I would say that a lot of people who are into coffee mostly think that, oh, if I make good coffee, then I don't need to make my place to be fancy, to attract people from the look. My coffee will be good enough to, spread the word. And that's not the case.
That's not the case at all, unfortunately. I mean, I kind of understand why too. The thing is that a lot of especially young people in Bangkok, they love going to cafe hopping, which is where they basically get content for their Instagram feeds or Facebook or what they mainly use. So they go to these places and they get nice photos and they upload them, and then people will follow pretty much like a review because they want to get nice pictures. I mean, digital age, all of that. But it's so dang hard to get good coffee at these places.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it's always like one or the other. You get either like really nice looking place, or you get really good coffee most of the time. So like there's some exceptions.
Yeah.
But it's just such a shame, you know, like.
Yeah, I get what you feel. Like, I know some places when they were building, the owners, well, I don't know them personally, but I've heard that the owners don't actually know anything about coffee. They just want to make it pretty, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
It will make profit for the short term, I would guess. Depends on what they specialize into, because a lot of these places have really good like bakery and stuff, or sometimes they will expand into food or special drinks. But yeah, the majority of them don't have good coffee, because I think a lot of people here don't really care about it too when they go.
Yeah, I think that, you know, boils down to the OG coffee culture in Thailand. Because, so we have this thing, like a Thai style coffee, where the coffee is very, very, very bitter, and very, very sweet.
This is like coffee from Thailand.
Yeah.
Like Thai coffee.
Like Thai style.
Yeah.
So apparently, according to my dad, the way it originated was back then it was very difficult to get, you know, the coffee beans itself. And of course, we didn't have the technology or, you know how to roast these beans, like, you know, light roast, medium roast. We did not know that. So all we got was just bitter bean juice. Right. So, and because, as I said, the beans was very difficult to get, they started roasting other types of seeds to, you know, mimic the burnt flavor, like tamarind seeds. That's, you know, pretty abundant in Thailand. And yeah, they just use that to like boil in the water. In you go, some bitter juice.
Do you know how this like coffee thing started in Thailand? Like, you know why it became
it's by sea. Also, you know, like the trading.
So,
Because
like
so back then, Thailand, we are a country which has, you know, a little curve in, because like ocean, river.
Yeah.
So we are like a trading port, harbor city. So of course, it's bound to happen where the goods, you know, comes in. And it was like, oh my God, what is this?
And then it became popular.
Beans. Yes.
Yeah, I see. So basically, a bunch of traders came in, and then they showed off this bean juice,
which, you know, magically energize you.
Yeah, true. I see why it would become popular. And then people are like, how can I get?
Did you know that Pope had to decide the fate of coffee?
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
You want to tell the story?
So, okay. The origin of coffee is unknown. Well, not unknown per se, but it's unclear which story is true. But at least what I've heard the most is this. This what's it called? What do you call the kid who's looking after the sheep? Sheep herder?
The sheep herder.
Yes. Oh my God, I got that right.
Shepherd. The shepherd.
Okay, the shepherd. Basically, this kid was looking after his sheep, and then suddenly he, you know, found his sheep just like super energetic, just jumping around, you know, didn't sleep and all that. And he was like, what the hell is going on with my sheep? Right? So he kind of did a detective play. So he kind of tracked down his sheep and then found out that this sheep was eating this peculiar berries. So if you did not know, coffee is actually a cherry. And the coffee beans itself is actually the seeds inside. It's like what's called the pit of the cherries.
So it's actually not a bean.
Yeah, it's not.
It looks like a bean.
Yeah.
So we call it a bean.
The beans. And so, you know, this is like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, right? So what did the kid do? The kid went to report to the local church. Oh my God, sir, you know, they found this magical beans, gives you power.
Was that his voice?
No, I wish I knew how his voice was. So the priest did investigate, or the church did investigate, and then like, oh my God, this juice is amazing. This is actually like, you know, I'm not feeling sleepy when I, you know, did my prayers. And so of course, spread it. So there are many names for the coffee or the cafe themselves. But there was one time that Pope, I can't remember which Pope, but he had to decide the fate of coffee. I think it was in Venice, surprisingly, where like, you know, the country where they drink most coffee.
Yeah.
People were scared of coffee because it was black. It tastes horrible.
Like, you know, it's a bitter black juice.
Yeah, this is like demon juice. We don't want that shit. Like, what is this? This is like demon energy.
It gives you like magical powers and shit.
So, of course, the Pope, who has like he has the highest power. He had to decide that whether it's okay to drink coffee or not. It's like, all right, let me taste that. He took a sip. He loved it.
So of course, it's a gift from God now.
Yeah. So it's like this juice is fucking fire.
This is bomb.
Yeah. So he was like, okay, this is okay
all
now.
Right. Yeah.
So that's it's quite interesting backstory of coffee.
Yeah.
And fast forward today, we just heard of zombies who need coffee.
Yep. You want to continue the Thai?
Yes, the Thai coffee. I completely forgot about that.
Yes. So really bitter. We got it from, we saw the traders brought in the quote unquote real coffee and we wanted to mix them as well. So we found any kind of seeds and
tried to mimic the flavor of that.
Roasted them and stuff.
So it turns out it's way too bitter. So of course, sugar was the way to go. To make it like, you know, drinkable while still gives you energy, even though there was none or very, very low. And later on, when we have condensed milk or evaporated milk, we also use that because it's tasty as hell. You okay? Okay. So there are two main types of Thai style coffee, which is one just black and sweet and one black, sweet and creamy. Which, you know, for some people it's very atrocious to drink a coffee that's sweet.
Yeah. But I mean, it's culture.
It is culture, so that's how it came to be.
But that's why it's like the most well-known kind of coffee in Thailand because it's been here for so long. So that's why people don't really drink what we would consider good coffee.
Yeah, like so far the Western style coffee, it's definitely growing in Thailand, but the old school Thai style coffee still definitely exists because it's cheaper. It's readily available on like, you know, street vendors. I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you.
Excuse me. So yeah, there are many times that I've talked to random foreigners, especially Japanese. They drink, you know, usually straight black coffee. They complain like, you know, oh, this is like my first time black coffee. It's amazing and everything, but like, I need to ask you a question. Why is your coffee so sweet? You know, ask for like coffee and it's just sweet.
Yeah. So we understand why that's the case, but it's still so disappointing.
Yeah.
It's still so disappointing to go to a place and you're like, oh, everything is great. And then you order the coffee and it tastes like diabetes in a cup. And it's just like,
This is painful.
This is painful. But then like, I guess you kind of learn to know what to expect as well when you go to these different places. So whenever we get a place that is specialized in coffee, we go there and we're, you know,
high expectations.
If the place doesn't look that great, sure, fine, that's okay. How's your coffee?
Yeah. So usually, like, I just, no matter where I go, I would just ask for just, you know, straight black coffee, not espresso, just, you know, Americano, long black, wherever you come from, hot as well. So that kind of usually catch people off guard. It's like, you want hot coffee?
People drink iced coffee here most of the time, which is understandable considering the weather. Today, apparently, it felt like 40 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
But hot coffee is just so much yummier.
It is. It depends. Actually, it depends, like, different types of beans, those kind of stuff. But, because it's hot coffee, you tend to get more aroma.
Yeah. And you can also, with really good coffee, you can smell and taste the different stages of the coffee as well. So when you first get it and it's really hot, you might get some taste notes. And then when it starts to cool down, you will start to taste other things, which is really, really interesting.
That is correct.
So it's just like, it's what makes the coffee interesting to begin with, which is why we want to drink it,
Is it though?
Also addiction. But I mean, like, we could get any good coffee that doesn't do that. Well, there's like many good coffee that just tastes good.
Yeah.
But doesn't taste anything special.
Like the Italians.
Yeah.
The Italians' coffee is actually pretty amazing. So, okay, more coffee stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how like there's two types that we drink mainly? There's Arabica and there's Robusta.
Yeah.
There's actually two more that we don't actually drink because apparently it tastes awful.
Okay.
So Arabica is what we most drink in general. And it is Robusta where it's, to be very, very straight, it tastes like burnt tire, which not very pleasant.
Yes.
But it actually holds more caffeine, and the tree itself is a lot tougher, so it kind of survive, like, in a hot climate and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, the Arabica is just weak, fragile boil. And so I personally myself have this bad, impression of Robusta because I would say 90% it tastes horrible. It's like, those canned coffee usually used because it's just easier to harvest and whatnot. Until I had this like Italian style where actually they mix Arabica and Robusta together. It's so smooth. Like it mellows out because Arabica is like sometimes have like acidity, sharpness.
Yeah.
The Robusta just mellows out everything. It becomes like a round ball of flavor.
There's like this flavor. I know what you mean. It's like sometimes you taste something and it just tastes round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like caramel, just like something like round.
It's not like pointy, it's round.
Yeah.
It's not zesty, it's not stingy. It's round.
Yes. Smooth.
Yeah, I never had that. I don't really like Robusta either. But yeah, as you said, it's because of bad experience. Often the canned coffee, as you said, when you go in and all of them say like Robusta, you're like, what choices do I have? Okay, let's see. I guess I shall sacrifice my tongue today for my energy. But yeah, there are many types of coffee, not only like limited to type of beans, different like
brewing method.
Yeah, brewing methods.
Process. Yeah, it's
also like where it comes from has a lot of impact on the taste as well.
Yes.
If you go into a lot of places that specialize in coffee, will often see this color wheel somewhere in the shop where it has different taste notes connected to different colors, which is how they show, which is how they easier show like the customers how the coffee is going to taste that they actually buy. Because most places that do become more serious about coffee, they have different types of beans for you to choose from.
Yes.
Which is, your shop had that as well.
Yes, I did that as well. So for some people that, they try to go for varieties of flavors, because some people don't like flavors and taste is very subjective. So you can't quite tell what's going on, like, or what they want. I've had some customer who came in, it's like, oh, I don't want, floral. Oh, I don't want sweet. And then I did something, they're like, oh, actually, I did not mean that. I mean this. I was like, but you didn't say that though. It's very subjective. So like in terms of like specialty specialty coffee or like the fancier flavor coffee, it's a guessing game. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, going off on a little tangent here, but I've worked in retail, and where we specialized in different like cosmetics that has to do with smell. People don't know what they want. Like, it's a common thing. It's not really, limited to a big product. I don't know what I want to. Like, if you go into a shop and you're not like 100% informed, or like you didn't spend a huge amount of time like researching this topic, of course you won't know what you want. And especially with coffee too, because it's not that popular.
It's not.
People don't know what the options are. So this kind of like visual is very useful for people as well.
Yes, agree. And the funny thing about coffee though, like sometimes you have like this orange smell, jasmine, blueberries or whatever. It's not the actual smell of that said fruits or flowers. It's a like chemical components that has similar, I guess, senses to that. That's why like it's not exactly that fruit, but it kind of reminds you of that fruit.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I never really understood how they get to those points. I get that most of the time they do it for us and then they taste it and they're like, oh, this tastes like cherry, or oh, this tastes like chocolate. Unless they do like the different,
brewing method.
Yeah, where they like do it in like a wine barrel or something like that. Then it's obvious. Oh, it's
right. That. You mean like process?
Yeah.
By the way, the process could get very, very complicated. Usually they have like, the typical wash process, natural process, like semi-wash or honey. And then people just get funky.
Yeah.
People just get like, oh, what if we put yeast in it? What if we just ferment it in a whiskey barrel?
Yeah.
And so that's where things get even more complicated, on top of what it already is.
Yeah. It's, you get such a wide variety of different tastes for coffee. And then of course you have like a whole different aspect of it where you can add flavoring. That's a controversial topic. But yeah, I think that more than anything, the most interesting part, I think, when you taste the coffee is when they get some kind of flavor from just the process of the beans themselves.
Oh yeah.
It's like, how did it do that?
One of my most mind-blowing thing, and like, excuse me again, the reason that I got super into, the world of specialty coffee or like, the light roasted single origin coffee is when I first started working as a barista, about 2 months in. So I was thrown to a slow bar or, filter coffee, drip coffee station. I didn't have any choice because they needed someone there. So I was put there. And 2 months in, they have this new beans. It was from Ethiopia. And the taste notes that it was written on the packet was lemongrass. I was like, bullshit. There's no way that there's a lemongrass in this coffee. How is it possible to have a lemongrass in coffee? So I actually stole it. Well, kind of.
Borrowed it.
I stole it.
He borrowed it.
I didn't stole it home. I just...
For legal reasons, he borrowed it.
I went into the storage room. I yoinked it. It wasn't supposed to be on sales yet. So I yoinked it. I just opened it. I took a whiff, like...
Was it lemongrass?
Oh. So to make sure, I actually made the coffee. And I was terrible as a coffee maker back then. I can make like geisha, taste like,
normal coffee.
Yeah, very like pleb coffee. I was like that level, but I could still smell the lemongrass from that coffee. I was like,
by the way, geisha coffee is like one of the best top tier that you can get.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like the ones that have really strong taste. For like taste notes and stuff. For those people who are just not aware.
Yeah. So geisha, like the Japanese geisha, it has the same spelling. Or geisha. So like recently they were asked to change because
of that.
Yeah. It's pretty much one of the most sought after because the flavor is just, it's almost like you're drinking tea.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
It's very pleasant to drink it though.
It is.
Not
it's
like you can't drink too much of it, but like once in a while, just like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah. So the lemongrass one.
Yeah, so I actually smelled lemongrass. Yes.
And smelled like lemongrass?
Yes. I was like, so I was mind blown. I was completely mind blown. And so I tried more and more of, other single origins. And luckily I got to meet a lot of very, very good people, both local and international in such a short period of time. So I kind of stole their ideas of how they make the coffee as well.
You speed ran the coffee learning process.
Pretty much, yeah. Because so I met, he's my friend now, Gabriel Caro.
Shout out to Gabriel. Go to Paga.
He's the owner of Paga Coffee right now in Bangkok. So I was standing next to him behind the bar, and then he kind of disappeared for 2 weeks. Then he came back. I was like, "Oh, where have you been?" But I was the only person who could speak like proper English next to him as well, so he talks to me the most. So I was like, asked him like, "Oh, where have you been?" It's like, "Oh, I went to world champion like brewer." I was like, "What?" It's like, "Oh yeah, he got ranked 9th in the world."
In the world.
I was like, this whole time,
just like that.
This whole time, I stood next to him. I was like, "Are you this good?" So, that was something. And then I also met, I think, Thailand ranked 3rd that year and 5th. And then about like almost a year after, I met Park Sung-ho, or Andrew Park, I believe that's his English name, which is like a UK champion. And I got to do a video call session with Tetsu. So I actually speed ran the learning process by a lot.
Yep. Yeah. Also, just a quick overview as well. So, do you want to explain the difference between slow bar and espresso bar?
Right. So we have this thing called speed bar and slow bar. So speed bar is espresso machine mostly. So typical classic menu: espresso, americano or long black, latte, cappuccino, those kind of stuff that requires the coffee machines. As the name suggests, espresso. So back then, before the machine was created, all coffee is brewed by the filter method or pour over method. And then this guy just came in and was like, what if we use pressurized machine? And so obviously that was the machine age, the machine industrialization, I believe.
Nice.
Yes. So that the birth of espresso machine, but this slow bar is, the filter style machine, pour over, AeroPress, siphon. That's another one that I never get to play with. Yeah.
So, for the different flavors and stuff like that, it generally is better for pour over or for slow bar, because for different baristas, they do it in a different way that will extract the beans, the different result as well. So you can get different flavors from the same bean from different baristas as well.
It's almost like personalized flavor or like style.
So depending on how you pour it, you will get different results.
So annoying. Like,
yeah,
in a way, like it's fun, but it's very complicated. Like if I was to use exactly same machine, same equipment, same beans, same process, everything, right? But if it was me and someone else doing like, the pour over, it's highly likely that we would get different flavor.
Yeah. So for personal use, it's amazing. For selling to customers, can be a bit tricky. That's why most people use the machine, the espresso machine, when you go into like a shop. Of course, you can go to places and they actually say that it's a slow bar, and then you would know that you get that personalized experience, and often you will get to see the barista actually pour it for you. It's kind of a bit of a show,
a little bit,
but in a nice way. Like it's interactive. And you get to see it, and they let you smell it and stuff like that.
Like you actually have like time to sit down. Actually, you experience it with your eyes first. Like like the all round experience is much better if you have time to do that, and if you drink black coffee, give it a go.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it to if you have access to any slow bar in your area. Otherwise, go to Paga. Go to Paga. Oh my God, when we went there for the opening,
yeah,
it was amazing, by the way. Like the different types of coffee that was just available. They have the roastery there. So it is a micro roastery.
Yep.
On the second floor. So all the beans are roasted there, like before they actually used in the shop, and you can buy the beans as well.
So it's him like who actually, buys the green bean, roast it himself, taste it himself, and actually make it himself, like, brew the coffee himself.
Yeah.
So it's quite something.
Yeah, you will see a lot of these kind of shops in other countries. So like Australia has a lot of that because a lot of them roast it themselves.
Yep.
We saw a few of these in Chiang Mai when we went as well.
Yes.
Like they have their own roastery, and then they actually sold the coffee in a little shop.
The one that we went is called Mallet.
That was really nice.
Yeah, I think they won Thailand roaster in like recent years. So yeah, they got very good coffee as well in Chiang Mai. So if you're in Bangkok, you can actually order online and have them shipped as well. So
non-spawn, but wish we were. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like hidden gems in Thailand.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That has really good beans and really good coffee. Even if you're not looking for like drip coffee, there's a lot of good places that have like just good beans for espresso. It just depends on what you're looking for. You have to do like a little bit of research. But if you want to really get into coffee, please go to a slow bar and just experience that and see if you like it.
Be like, open-minded, and just most of the barista will be more than welcome to like spend time with you and talk to you. It's, at least to me personally, I enjoy talking to customers and, have some interactions, because some people will come in like, oh, like, how does this work? What is going on with this coffee? I'm like, I've never seen this done before. So it's very fun to, teach, not just teach, but like
share your knowledge.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, it's like, don't be scared to admit that you don't know anything. That's how we learn as well. So like, I think that most baristas would probably appreciate more if you came in and you're like, they ask you like, oh, do you like coffee? And you're like, I have no idea. Just come in and be like, I have no idea about it. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah.
They would love to explain it to you, like for sure. Because most people who are into coffee would like everybody to be into coffee.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Funny thing though, before I got into coffee stuff, I actually worked in a craft beer shop before. I had no idea about craft beer, but I just kind of used my sensory skills that I have from coffee to like remember all the taps. There were 30 taps, by the way. And I, again, work as part-time. I think I remember it like less than a week. And it just, when you try, like when you can explain what you can taste in the beer or in anything really, it just makes it so much easier to sell to customer.
does, so because then they know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's even with the coffee. If you can explain what it is, or like if you can have that discussion, like make it customized to them. So like ask them what they like. If they don't know what they like, just let them smell the beans. And then choose. And then if they don't like it, and whatever, like next time maybe.
It's also more like you set the expectation, and you kind of set the goals for the customer, like what you need to look for, and like if they actually found it, it's be very rewarding experience as well.
Yes.
Like, oh my god, I can actually taste this.
Yeah, I know that for you though, when you had your shop, you like weird coffee.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, not people don't necessarily like it, but it would always have that effect where they're like, "Oh, sure, I will try it," and then they try it. It's like, oh,
very mixed feelings for them as well.
Weird. How does coffee taste like this? Like, that's at least that was my reaction. Like with the blueberry one, when you talked about like the yeast one that you had.
That's the thing.
The tobacco one.
Some of them I don't actually know if it's flavoring or not, but I would say okay, my two favorites so far is from Italy, roasted by the Italians. It's a Mexican coffee.
Ah.
Yeah.
So it's done, it's round.
Yeah, but it's roasted for filter coffee.
Oh, by the Italians?
Yes.
Interesting.
Right?
So Italians mostly like espresso,
and they're very, very serious about that.
Yeah. They do it very well.
Yeah.
But like if you go to Italy and you order a cafe, then you will get a little, espresso.
Espresso.
Yes.
I actually stood at the booth for the Italians coffee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was surrounded by Italians.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's kind of bravo.
Shout out to Big Grace.
I'm sorry, Italians.
Go have gelato at Big Grace's place. Put out the logo.
Anyhow, like usually from what I've heard, that the Italians, they don't appreciate the acidity in coffee at all, really. So that's why putting the Robusta in the coffee will kind of eliminate the acidity from Arabica as well. Mm-hmm. Where were we again?
The weird coffee.
Yes, the weird coffee. The Mexican coffee. So usually the coffee will comes in like, 150 gram, 200 grams, 250. This one come in 330. It's a very weird sizing to begin with. It's
a big boy.
It's a massive packet. And the taste notes, from what I can gather, it was written tobacco, the cigarette, brown sugar, and cocoa nibs. I was like, what is this? So I made it. I think I did not read that from my first cup. I just made it. It's like, I've never had Mexican coffee before, or Mexican beans. I was like, this tastes very, very weird. It tastes very green. It tastes like something's not right. Mm-hmm. And then later I found out that it wrote tobacco. And then it's like, oh, that explains this like weird, like smoky, not pleasant herbs in my mouth. And yeah, like the aftertaste that it left, the smokiness left, like just stays in your mouth for like minutes. It's just so crazy.
I wish I could try it.
I wish.
Yeah.
And the other one, I cannot remember what beans, like where it came from, or what process.
Was it Jason?
It's from Jason. But the taste notes are cheese, cotton candy, lemon yogurt. Yeah. It
sounds disgusting.
It's so weird. It's so weird. So I use hand grinder for these like filter coffee. So when I use it, right?
Over there.
Before. So
it's like that thing.
It's like it's a spinny boy. So I would have to put it like, somewhere sturdy. right? For this beans in particular, I have to put it away because like the smells just like shoot up from the grinder, and it smells like smoked cheese, not in a pleasant smoked cheese way. And when I made it, it still smells somewhat like smoked cheese, but then it's like this hint of sweetness
It's the cotton candy.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. And then when you actually taste it, the cheese smell's gone. It's just sweet. It's just cotton candy.
Interesting. So just the smell is the cheese,
Yeah.
but the taste is like
Yeah.
It's so weird.
So normally,
So
like
weird.
for the coffee, which tastes sweetness or some sort, you can kind of tell like, okay, so for flavors wise, or like,
Like fruits and stuff like that, or like berries.
Yeah, we usually relate it with colors. Like, it tastes something like, yellowy, so like tropical fruits, or like, reddish, purple. This one is just
berries.
sweet. Like I can't pinpoint any other types of colors. It's just sweet. So weird.
Yeah, because usually coffee don't taste like you added sugar, even when it's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It just has like flavor of something that is supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's not like sweet on the get go. It's usually like the almost aftertaste that you then start to taste the sweetness.
Yeah, like when it like mixes with the saliva. It's you know what I mean.
Now that you put it that way,
it's like that. Like so on the topic of flavoring though, because I know that a lot of Thai places, especially because like when you make the coffee and all of that, some of them add the flavoring, especially to like lattes and stuff like that, or even like Starbucks, they add the caramel, whatever, cinnamon and stuff like that. It's kind of taboo in quote unquote specialty coffee. The specialty coffee stage. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So flavoring in coffee world is not uncommon per se. It can be done on like so many stages, from like, the processing or like the roasting. I've heard that like the Vietnamese, they use like what's called fish sauce and like butter, like roasting, those kind of stuff like that. I'm not sure. I've never had that particular beans, even though I've been to Vietnam. The coffee is very strong.
I've only had the one with the egg.
I have not tried that.
It's very sweet. It's like a liquid pastry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I want to try that.
It's pretty good, but it's very weird when you see the egg going in. You're like, oh. Anyway, yes.
All right. So, and then it comes to like artificial flavor, like chemicals wise. There's so many bad rumors going around, like, oh, they use like the e-cigarette liquid to do the flavoring.
Or like syrup and stuff like that.
Yeah, those kind of stuff. Like some of them, like there was this one particular beans. I'm not gonna say which one. I think a lot of people know. They put the green beans, so unroasted, into a cup of water for like a day, and the water tastes just like what the finishing products would be. Like after roasted and brewed, it tastes exactly the same. So it's very concerning of like, what chemical did you use?
So like it's like the brand didn't do it, but so there was like a lot of rumors around this specific coffee brand, and like there was
I think it's actually not just brand, it's the farm.
Yeah, so like the bean basically. Yeah. There was a lot of like rumors going around about the bean, and people like, I think that most of the controversy came from the fact that they didn't admit to anything and still haven't really admitted to anything.
No.
Also, like it really depends on where in the process the quote unquote flavoring came from, where technically they don't have to talk about it. But if it's something like actually adding flavoring in, people consider that being like, kind of scamming people.
Yeah, like
because you're not really truthful about it. So like people were thinking that they did that. So what they did is that they took the green bean, which is the roasted bean.
Yes.
Or kernel. And they soaked it, and then they got that flavor.
Yeah.
So they were like, how did that happen? Like, how is this possible?
That should not be the case, by the way.
It was Thai beans.
Thai beans.
Yeah, which is very...
They claim to be a
rare?
special process, and that's about it. That's all we know.
Yeah. Ooh, drama in the coffee community. It was a big thing.
So I have a friend who's in the Facebook group. It's daily, and it's over stupid things. So I don't even bother, joining
a lot of drama in the cup. Like it really depends on how serious you are about different things in coffee making process. A lot of people are fine with it. Like, especially the customers, especially here in Thailand. If it tastes good, it tastes good. But then I understand where a lot of, especially roasters or like farmers, get upset when another farmer, another roastery are not honest about how they do it.
It's actually illegal.
Well then, it's actually illegal.
It's actually illegal to flavoring your coffee.
At what stage though? Because like, wouldn't you say
roasting
that like...
stage. I think it's roasting or processing. I've seen it somewhere when I first, opening my shop. It's like, I'm just going to go through some laws for shit and giggles. And I think I saw that like somewhere, but I can't remember now. So that's why even though like they, flavored the coffee, they can't say it.
This is illegal.
Yeah.
But then like, for example, if you're going to do in the process where you like do it in like the wine barrel, wouldn't you consider that like flavoring then? Like at what stage does it become illegal?
True. That's actually a very good point. Yeah, because actually,
like I've been wondering about this because like in the process, if they add the yeast, for example, if they like ferment it in a wine barrel, in a whiskey barrel, or like add some kind of stuff during that process, isn't that considering adding more flavor to the beans, or even like the honey wash and stuff like that?
Honey wash, you don't actually use honey, by the way.
Oh, okay. The more you know.
So honey wash, they call that because it's actually...
It's sweeter? Oh, Jesus.
It's actually a... sorry, I got distracted by the recording screen.
By your pretty face?
Yes. It's actually a semi-wash. So there's like wash process where the cherries in the pit or the beans itself. So when you kind of peel it away and you pulped it, there'll be this like a thin layer that coating the beans itself. So in wash process, normally you actually wash the whole thing off clean.
But then in the honey thing, you like...
Yeah. So the natural process is you sun dried or air dried the entire cherry, and you need to flip it every like how many hours, can't remember. So it's actually labor intensive. The percentage of the cherries that will go bad, it's a lot higher, but also the flavors you get, tends to be more intense because of the fermentation that's going on. And so they mix the two processes together. So they would wash away the whole thing, but keep the thin layer. Yeah, and when it's dry, it's kind of turned into like that honey colored. So Thai people would call it honey process.
That's why. But anyway, like the other stuff.
Yeah, like that's a very... I actually never thought about that. Like, how...
At what point does it become like illegal to add flavoring? And what kind of flavoring is legal?
Yeah, true.
It's like if it's already like finished coffee and you add like caramel syrup, that's definitely like legal.
Yeah, and then but then like there are other like brands that sell like actual flavoring syrup, like like elderflower. I don't think the customer will be okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard this place where they sell this like ice drip coffee. So it's like, oh my God, it tastes like very tea-like. It's coffee. It's like this. The orange comes up very strong. I was like, you should go try it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. I didn't get to try it yet. And then a few days later, the person that told me, like, don't ever go there. Like, oh, why? What happened? They mix tea into the coffee grounds when they drip it, and at the server at the bottom, they slice the orange and put it at the bottom.
Yeah.
But then on the menu, it just say like ice drip.
So they don't disclose that?
No.
Yeah, so that's like where most of the drama comes from as well. When people are not really honest about how they get the finished product.
Yeah.
Of course, like, industry secrets and stuff like that. It's understandable, but at the same time, like, if you are a honest working farmer or roastery or barista or like shop owner, and you see that these other people get more customers from, lying to people, of course you're gonna get upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll be fine if it wasn't named just ice drip, like just create whatever name you want. Just know like what's in this cup of coffee that the customer's drinking.
Yeah. But then we have people who rightfully so find it like absolutely like unacceptable to have this kind of thing because it's like staining the coffee image.
Yeah.
I mean, it's understandable too, especially if you're that deep into the industry as well. Then
I still go to Starbucks.
Oh my God. A confession of a barista.
The Starbucks Frappuccino is amazing. Prove me wrong.
I can't, but I order chai latte.
Yeah, so it's like go to Starbucks for like, the Frappuccino.
The Frappuccino. Yeah. It's just a milkshake.
It tastes good though.
It's pretty good. But yeah, no comments on the Starbucks coffee. They have a drip bar now too. You can go try it if you want to, but I would recommend not to.
For the experience.
For the experience. But have good coffee first and then go get the Starbucks drip.
Go to Paga and then go to Starbucks.
He's going to get so mad at you.
I love you, Gabriel.
I can't wait until like we can get like coffee liquor again as well. Coffee is amazing as alcohol too, by the way.
It's
really good.
Like kind of something that would fuck you up and give you energy at the same time.
Yeah, it's like, when
drunk with more energy, hit me up.
I was going to say something bad. I was going to say like the Red Bull vodka mix.
God, I hate Red Bull. Bad memories.
Is that but better?
Bad memories. It's classier. It's like
classy.
What's called
you look cool. You can wear like a
espresso martini.
Yeah. Right? Like you would look like secret agent.
I guess.
Speaking of looking cool.
What?
We're models. Or we do part-time modeling. We've noticed that, including this guy, a lot of models get into coffee. Like, a lot of models become baristas, especially the slow bar.
I'm 100% guilty on this. Am I not?
It's like, yes, you are. I completely like approve of it, but it definitely is partly because it makes you look cool as hell. Like, it just adds to the image of like, the like handsome guy. It's like,
yeah,
I'm doing modeling on the side, but I'm also like deep. I care about coffee.
Yeah, I mean, like you get to wear an apron, you walk around with coffee, you do like cool motions.
It's like
plus 15 charisma.
Yeah, it's like becoming a bartender, but without the late night shift.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's why I became barista.
It worked. It worked. I mean,
okay, but like on the
we have so many friends who are baristas. By the way, like, please continue.
Not calling you out.
No, like please continue. You look cool as hell.
But like
but we know.
On the logical point of like, this kind of stuff though, like, being a model is always a part-time.
Yeah.
You can never call yourself like a full-time model unless you like
Or like
properly.
world famous or like at least like nationally famous.
Yeah.
Where you get consistent jobs. But even then, if you're a model, compared to like an actress or like actor or, musician or something like that, the jobs are very inconsistent. Even if you get like a big job and then like you can like live on that for a while, you don't know when you're going to get jobs, basically.
Yeah. It really depends on the clients out there. So, but yeah, like with the nature of our job as models, it's easier to do like, barista in a way because you don't get to, you don't get held back or like tied down with the office jobs. Usually there are other barista that can kind of take your shift.
Yeah, in case you having to go to a job or like casting or something like that. Because like, even if you don't own the shop, it's much more flexible to work at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
I think people see this in like movies about LA a lot, like, the upcoming actors and stuff working in the coffee shop. Same concept. Like, even if you're not the owner of the shop, usually you will be close enough to the owner where you can ask for like a day off, the day after tomorrow, something like that.
Unless you work in like a big chain coffee shop.
Yeah, then it doesn't really help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're an owner, you can just close the shop.
It's actually so much work running your own shop. I did not see this coming. Dumb.
He was naive.
Yes.
But it turned out all right. Like, even if it wasn't for COVID, like, it would have been completely fine.
Yeah. But I mean, like, so when I was running my own shop, I would get like, calls, be like, hello, can you like go for casting tomorrow
at like 2 in the afternoon?
Yeah. So like, and in Thailand, at least, like casting takes up the whole day.
Yeah.
It could, usually the minimum of casting time is like 2 hours. It could go up to like 6 hours, 8 hours if needed, right? So basically, like, do I need to close my entire shop? And like, if I don't, then like, do I need to close early? Like, how am I going to announce it? So it's very tricky to do this by myself.
I mean, even if you have like another staff, if you're supposed to work on that day, sometimes people are not available as well if you ask them to go and stuff like that. However, going back to the point, it's still much more flexible than an office job.
Yes, agreed.
Like 100%. A lot more flexible than an office
100%.
job. When it comes to like that kind of job. So that's why we know that there's a lot of people in the industry working in coffee shops.
Yeah.
And then also I think that because the schedule for showbiz requires a lot of weird hours. Sometimes you work into the night. Sometimes you have to work really, really early in the morning.
Yep.
Sometimes you work the whole day. Sometimes you just work in like small gaps. And coffee is very useful. So naturally, a lot of people get stuck on coffee.
Yes.
And thus it leads to becoming interested in coffee. And if they become like a barista or like a waiter, waitress or something like that, accompanying the addiction to coffee, it just,
it just works.
Fail-proof way to get into good coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for me personally, if I don't drink coffee before like 11 a.m., I'll get headaches.
I usually last until like 1, but then it's just like it goes downhill from there if I don't get any caffeine. Unfortunately, it wasn't like this until like a couple years ago. Maybe when I met you.
Maybe I just like
just started getting good coffee every day.
Force feeding you coffee.
Also,
yes,
it can't taste sour.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'm just I'm the one who decides like what kind of taste the coffee is.
Right. So usually for the coffee, there are like some flavor orders that comes out. So there's like acidity, sweetness, saltiness, and then bitterness. Right. So acidity comes first, and it usually gets kind of destroyed or hit behind the temperature heat of the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the case, but then I just can't taste the acidity in coffee, or if I can, it's very low. Like I could tell some of the coffee is sour by remembering some of the feelings I can feel on my tongue.
Like you know what sour is supposed to feel like,
Yeah,
but you don't know what it tastes like.
In coffee, I can still taste like lime and all this kind of stuff, but not in coffee.
It's so weird.
And if I could taste the sourness in coffee, which means it's really, really sour for most of other people. Like if I could, taste it, it's like, oh, this is really sour. And then I pass it to her, she'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's very weird though, because you can taste some kind of sours and then you can taste some other kind of sours.
And there was this time where I could taste sourness and then I pass it to her. She's like,
it's not
fruity
or like sweet.
This is not sour at all. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. So to make sure, usually I'm the one who decides what kind of taste it is. Or if we have some other person there, we will like, oh, try the coffee and see what kind of taste notes come out. I mean, usually we just, usually on the bag, they will like say what kind of taste notes it is. And then we will, depending on how we feel, we will either taste the coffee first and then say what we can find, or we will read it and try to look for the taste notes.
But usually like that's another thing that factoring in when deciding what coffee to buy. Like read the taste notes if they have it. It's like, oh, this looks interesting. I'll get that one. But yeah, as I said, it's very subjective. It really depends on like individuals' experience and physical ability.
Yeah. I think also that most people are very used to one specific type of coffee that they have like most of their life. As you said, like before, like a few months ago.
Oh, wow.
Like a lot of people come in and they say like, I don't like sour coffee. But that type of sour coffee is bad coffee.
It is possible to
bad
get
coffee.
Like acidity or the sourness of the coffee, and it's
have
bad.
It taste good.
Yeah, it is very possible.
Yeah, so like it can either taste good or bad. But a lot of the time when they think about sour coffee, it's like the coffee that is not really made well.
Yeah.
And it just tastes like
basically
acidic.
Undercooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically undercooked coffee.
But then you have like stuff that tastes like orange or like lime, but not like, biting into a lime or anything. Just like a little hint of sourness, which tastes really good. So it really depends. Like even if you're not already sure what kind of coffee you like after having tried a bunch of them, I would definitely recommend trying different types of coffee, even if they're like the taste notes that you don't usually like.
Yeah.
Especially if they're weird.
Oh yeah, just
go for it.
I managed to convince some people to like sour coffee by just like, oh, I have a new one, try this. And they was like, oh no, I don't like sour coffee, and then started reading some weird taste notes that I got, and they're like, actually, you know what, just give me that one. And then they're like, what the hell did you just give me? And they're just like become more adventurous in terms of like, coffee.
Yeah, I mean that's the fun part of having a shop,
absolutely.
Right? Like when you get the return customers, and they just start to get more and more interested because it's fun. Like it is fun, but you don't really experience it in any coffee shop. So, as we said, like the coffee culture is not that
Rich, robust.
It's not that rich, robust over here. So you can't just walk into a coffee shop and expect to get this, which you can in other countries. Not all countries, but like other specific countries.
Chance to get it.
Yeah. Like even in Sweden, you wouldn't be able to just go into any shop and then like expect to like have somebody doing a slow bar. It's very rare, but I mean, you know, different places have different standards.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard that like, so one of my senior in like coffee business, he went to Ethiopia, which is like the birthplace of coffee. He expected to be like, oh, you know, that's gonna be like top quality. They went there and they were roasting coffee in a pan. So to them, coffee is like exporting goods, just like Thailand with rice. So you don't.
There's an abundance of it. So it's like not special.
No, like they export the top quality outside of the country, and they only get like C grade, B grade.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like rice in Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Interesting. I never thought about that. I mean, it makes sense though, because you want to like produce money for the country.
Like definitely over 50% of the country incomes from coffee exporting. So the trade-off is so real.
Yeah. But I want to go back to Australia and try the coffee there. Like when I went last time, I didn't really care about coffee that much. I went with my family, so we just like focused on traveling and sightseeing.
I think I want you to experience the cafe culture more than just the coffee. Like the cafe culture is amazing over there. Like it's a mix, like a perfect balance of like, you know, it looks good and it actually tastes good. So the coffee is like good, just good anywhere, like no matter where you go. Yeah.
Because that's their standard
too.
I mean, if you go anywhere here and you order like a iced tea, which is like with the milk.
The orange type?
The orange iced tea. Yes. You're kind of guaranteed to get a good one, like most of the time, in like a coffee shop. If you go out on the street and you order like an iced tea, I almost said coffee. You're pretty much guaranteed to get a good one. Perhaps like really, really sweet, but even then it tastes good.
Yeah. It's pretty much that, but in coffee in Australia. Yeah.
When the country opens up again.
I mean,
after Japan.
Oh yeah. God, Japan, cafe culture.
I've never been at all. So I'm excited for that.
It's amazing. It's like the dream.
Yeah, the thing is like with Japan, I've always wanted to go since I was a little kid. But there's so much stuff that I'm interested in that they have an abundance of in Japan. So I'm just like, if I go, I will spend all of my life savings. So I just have not gone there because of money reasons. Because even if I was able to, at different points in my life, I was just like, do I really want to spend all my money though? Because I know that I'm going to buy like a lot of food and then a lot of fashion and a lot of like anime and game stuff. And yeah, so I just.
The last time I went there for 10 days, I spent 50% of my money within the first 3 days.
See, like that's the thing. So like I feel like I would do the same thing. So I'm just like, I need to at least have like a lot, which I did before COVID hit. So I actually booked with my friend. We booked the tickets to and back from Japan, like a year in advance. For when did COVID hit? 2020.
Late 2019.
So our ticket was for, I think it was. Oh, I can't remember anymore. But it was like December.
No, it was like late 2020, but it's not December.
It was like.
Because like
November, October?
Around there.
So
you were going to go to Halloween. Was it?
Oh yeah, so it was I was going to go during Halloween in 2020. I think, because I told you about it. Of course, we had to cancel. We got the refund, luckily. But such a shame. Such a shame.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, I think it's much better that it got cancelled.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
otherwise you don't want to get stuck there with super high rate of patients.
I mean, the most ideal outcome would be for no COVID at all. I think everybody can agree with that. But yeah. I mean, like, it is what it is. We'll go back later.
Oh yeah, definitely. When we have more savings, that will never be enough.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it another time.
True.
Japan, travel. Hopefully when we already went.
Yeah. But yeah, cafe culture in Japan, amazing.
I heard the coffee is pretty good too.
The coffee is very varies in terms of drinking style. So some people would just go like extreme acidity, and some people just go like the dark roast. So there's like, super wide varieties.
Interesting.
There are like some famous or well-known brands like Blue Bottle, Arabica. I believe that's from Japan. There's Omotesando coffee, or right now it's called Coffee Mamiya. It's like a bean store, bean shop.
Is Kurasu also from Japan?
Yes, Kurasu is also from Japan. It's originated in Kyoto. The owner is very nice.
Another person he has met in his speed run. In his bee run?
His beans run.
Beans run?
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah. What else? I was about to say Cafe Kitsune, but then that's from Paris.
Is it?
It's actually,
I never knew.
It's I believe they're a married couple where one is Japanese and one is French, and originated in France. So yeah.
Cafe Kitsune just opened here last year. Last year. A lot of tea about that. Don't have to get into that. But yeah.
Clothing is very cute. I have to admit that. Okay. Next topic. Is there anything else you'd like to mention about
coffee? No, I think that pretty much covers
things that we want to rant about.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like rise in coffee shops that has good looks and good coffee. Currently, I think that a lot of people now that everything is kind of closed down, they have more time to sit at home and like find new interests. And a lot of people find that interest in coffee. For people who are just like mildly interested in it to begin with, starting to dig into the topic more. And we are finding a lot of new coffee shops opening despite like situation. I think that people kind of predicting that a lot of people are gonna go out when things get better too. So I mean, it's not a bad time to start a new shop. But yeah, anyway, so like a lot of people are actually reading into it, and we're finding a lot more places popping up, but not enough. Never enough. Please open more coffee shops with good coffee.
Yes. You want to be able to like, walk around. It's like, oh, I'm just going to quickly grab this place before heading to my office. Like that kind of vibe.
Yeah. I feel like I've tried every single coffee place around my office. And well, Sarni's is opening.
Oh yeah, there's a new one that like actual roastery opening up next to you.
Yeah, I'm finally getting a roastery next to me, but
congratulations.
Yeah, not until like a few months. So.
They still let you buy coffee though.
Yeah.
They're nice.
Yeah.
That's what
Shout out.
That's what baristas do. We sell coffee when we're not actually open.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that it's gonna be really nice. I never really gone to a lot of Sarni's, I didn't really know much about it. But yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely going to visit a lot anyway, because I have a lot of choice, but at the same time, I don't have a lot of choice, Like, even the one I usually bought from, where I thought it was going to be really good, not. And I thought that I just like every single day I tried and I got the cup. I'm sounding really privileged right now. How dare they serve me bad coffee? No, but like I would buy it every single day. And every day I was like, maybe they're just having a bad day. Like maybe they're just like, got a bad like batch of beans. Like maybe it's just, like maybe it's the person like brewing it today that is like, it's not, up to what it could be.
They're just bad.
It was just bad.
And the funniest thing is that I work for not exactly the same brand that she goes a lot. It's like under the same umbrella.
Yeah, they have a lot of good coffee though, like that roastery.
But they don't send the good ones to that sub brand in particular. Yeah. And I did not know that until recently.
Disappointment.
Yeah, I did not know that until recently. It was like, wait, which coffee shop do you go to? And it's like, when she said it's shop name, I was like, oh.
I think that it also has to do with what people buy around there.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Because if you get like latte or like cappuccino or whatever, I'm sure it's gonna be fine because you mix it with
milk
because it's very bitter,
intense.
It's very bitter, but I like my coffee black. So when I would order it, it was just like chewing on a coffee bean. I was just like, There was one time when I texted you and I was like, I can't drink this. Can you send me some coffee?
Oh yeah, you did.
I'm sorry.
And I was at a shop, so I was like, wow, how bad it had to be.
I just couldn't. Like, that's the thing as well, going back to the thing where if you had good coffee, it's very hard to go back. If you haven't had good coffee, it's very easy to drink. It's like average coffee is the nicest way to put it.
But like for me, every now and then, it's very nice to go back and drink just, like hotel coffee, just in a batch brew. It's like, oh yeah, this
is the life.
Yeah. Like, the smell, the taste, it warms my heart.
It's part of traveling.
The pleb coffee.
The pleb coffee. Yeah. You have anything to add? I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, I think that's.
I already exposed myself as a elite coffee drinker who won't accept average coffee.
God. Why are you like this? Why are we like this?
Why are we like this? This is the curse of the coffee.
Welcome to episode 1.
I mean, now it's done and over with.
Yeah.
Actually, if you don't want to get into coffee, don't. Maybe don't.
It's fine.
It's fine. Otherwise you become like this.
Yeah. I mean, you need to prepare quite a bit to get into, making your own coffee because, okay, as I said, it's very subjective. It could get very complicated. But on top of that, the gadgets, the equipment,
they're expensive.
They're not cheap, right? So, okay, hang on. This bad boy right here, it's a scale. You probably see it
in like coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah, like the specialties, those kind of stuff, right? They're like 6,000 baht, $200 just for this bad boy. Okay, and there's like a smaller version. That's like 7,500 baht. So it's even more. That's like what, $250 US.
This is why
right here,
specialty coffee is so expensive.
This thing, it's very sexy, and that's the reason why I got it. In Thailand, it's about 7,000, almost 8,000 baht.
The thing is that like a lot of equipment is cheaper in other countries as well, depending on where they are produced. So of course you can get it for cheaper, but because the market is so small, you don't really have a lot of choice that are good, which is why the price is hiked up so much.
Yeah. So this bad boy, I got it for about less than 5,000 baht from Singapore. There's a shop that deals with the state directly. And if you get to go to Hong Kong, this guy is also cheaper than Thailand. Pro tip, if you want to buy things off of Alibaba or, overseas shipment, you get taxed. You'll get 30% tax because that already happened to me. I thought I was being smart buying stuff off of Alibaba, right? It came not as, a parcel.
As a paper.
I got a paper that I need to go and pay the tax. Otherwise, I won't get the goods that I already paid.
Yeah, it's like that with a lot of things here too. Like it's such a gamble to actually order stuff. If you do get a chance to go abroad, I know it's like not everybody gets a chance to go. And if it's not a sustainable hobby, to be honest. Like, if you get to try it, then it's good. If you don't want to spend all of your money on coffee equipment or on just coffee shops, then maybe don't.
Yeah, sometimes.
But it's fun.
Yeah, sometimes it's just easier to go to your local shop and just find a barista or a shop that, to your liking and just spend the money.
Espresso is fine too. Espresso is nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't discriminate.
And
any
cheaper.
kind of coffee.
Like, if you don't get into like the whole filter, so like buying stuff for doing the filter and stuff like that.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Yeah, like it's definitely more expensive than just like getting a espresso machine.
Yeah. I mean, some of them, like, you can go for like cheaper options. Well, like this thing probably costs like a couple $100 or like, less than $10 or about $10. The scale, it can just be anything really, but this is like the A class.
It's very accurate and it has a timer,
yeah,
which is what you need when. But you can just use your phone.
Exactly. That's why you can get like,
a
couple $100 scale and use your phone as like the watch. The kettle, I mean, I can say this because I have experience, but I have tried using just home kettle and it works fine. We know how to do it. The only thing that you really need though is the grinder, which is, it's a lot cheaper now in Thailand, the brand I'm using. So you really have to spend only about like, I would say, I said only, but it's still like, a few thousand baht to get it going. But yeah, I mean, it's a good step, but like, let me warn you, once you get in this,
you want to buy more.
Yeah, because they're like, it's almost like figurine kind of thing. Like,
it is. It's like a
toys.
hobby.
Yeah.
Any hobby costs a lot of money. So just, beware. But it's fun.
Yeah. I have about 7 drippers, which is this thing. I have like 2 kettles. But again, I have a shop, so that's my excuse. But for some people, it's just
at home
stupid to have like this many equipments.
Stupid, but like fun, like,
yes, fun.
It's like understandable why people get it.
Yeah.
I haven't yet because like you make my coffee most of the time.
And she used my equipment.
Yeah, he just leaves it here. So, but yeah. So, what's the takeaway from this episode?
Wow, there's so many things. So, as a barista, I would say, just do or consume whatever you enjoy. If you want or like sweet coffee, just go for it. If you want to try something else, like, just black coffee or like filter coffee, single origin coffee, just go for it. You don't know, or just don't be shy. Just ask for it. I mean, as a barista myself, I'm more than happy to, tell you what's going on in the cup that you're drinking or you're about to drink.
Yeah. And if you're already adequate in coffee making, please open another shop. I'm desperate to find more places to buy coffee from. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. And we will see you next time. Hopefully in 1 week. That's what we're planning on doing.
Yep. I'm trying my best to edit the videos.
You did really well in the 0 episode.
Thank you. It's very meaningful.
It's very meaningful. So stupid. Anyway, bye and peace out.